Hey guys, welcome back to The Composed Artist. I'm Stephanie, your host, and today I really wanted to talk about how it feels to go viral online. Okay, so we're on social media every day, all day. We probably shouldn't be, but here we are. And on Instagram or TikTok or any other platform, really. And we watch other people posting and going viral, or their numbers are going through the roof, or you just see other people go viral, or maybe you've experienced a post going viral and you're flooded with activity and engagement. Maybe you get a ton of followers, maybe you get a ton of inquiries if you're an artist trying to sell your work or book weddings online. A lot of activity happens when a post goes viral, but then what happens after is really staggering. You kind of experience this lull in engagement, a lull in followers, and then that directly affects your confidence and your self esteem and maybe even your self worth. It's something that I've experienced many times and something that our guest today has experienced as well. And I was really excited that she wanted to come on and talk about it. So, without further ado, I'd love to introduce Nicolette Arnitz. She is out of Southern California. She's an incredibly talented live wedding painter. And it was really fun to hear her perspective on going viral. I'm talking on social media here. I feel like I shouldn't have to preface that these days, but there you have it. Having posts go viral and then, you know, dealing with the aftermath of that. And then we also talk about motherhood. She has a beautiful little son and traveling as a wedding painter, now as a mother as well, and all the other challenges that come with being a creative entrepreneur, live wedding painter, and a mother with a child at home. So, yeah, let's get into this conversation. I know you're going to love it as much as I did. Let me introduce to you Nicolette Arnitz. Welcome to The Composed Artist, the podcast where we explore the intersection of artistry, entrepreneurship, and self-improvement and continue to pursue a more composed life. I'm your host, Stephanie, an artist specializing in live wedding painting, living in the vibrant and soulful city of New Orleans. Over the past decade, my job has taken me all over the world, meeting and creating art in front of thousands of people, and has allowed me to create a colorful life for myself and my family. Now, I help other artists build confidence, develop their techniques, and fall in love with the art of live wedding painting. I invite you to join us for inspiring stories of creative journeys, practical tips for running a successful art business, and honest conversations about the joys and challenges of running a studio and being a parent. This podcast is here to keep you company, keep you entertained, and is full of resources to help you on your journey to create a business that feeds your soul, makes an impact, and is insanely profitable. The Composed Artist is the podcast for the bold, creative, passionate, and genuine artist. Let's get started. So how are you? How's your year looking? Because we're like wrapping up quarter one and we have, quarter two, summer, fall. How's your year looking?
It's good. We are over here in California. We're getting into wedding season now. So
Hmm.
I had a uh, decently busy March. And April, I only have, four, but May and June is when I like have to sit my husband down and I'm like, don't hate me.
Yeah.
It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
You're spending a lot of time with Colton. And he knows, we know now, it's, I think, my third full year doing this. And so he gets it. Um, but yeah, we're getting into wedding season. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of 2025. Um, it's going to be fun.
That's awesome. Are you
Yeah.
fully booked? Or you still got a few that you're squeezing in?
Yeah, I said my goal was to try to take on 50. I think that that's crazy lofty in terms of just being a first time mom now and
Oh
figuring
yeah.
that out.
I was
So
gonna say it's
I'm
not lofty for you. You're doing real good. Like that's totally
I
attainable, but doing it as a mom, yeah, that's a lot.
yeah. Yes, it is. I'm at 46 right now and I think I'm gonna close my books because I'm just looking at my schedule and I'm like, like I want to have days like with I'm with home with my son during the weeks, but like I want to have days with my husband and my son too. My husband works a job during the weeks, and so I get inquiries all the time, and technically I am available for the date that they're asking, but it's like I need that time off, you know. So
Yeah.
I could hit 50, maybe 60, like with the inquiries that come in, but I want to stop. I think and
No,
just
I
have some
completely
time.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your like boundary system? Do you have a system where you book only so many back to back and then you need a break, or do you take full months off, or do you not do two back to back? Like what's your system?
So I learned the hard way in 2023 when 2022 is when I first started. And so I think I had like 24 weddings. I feel like I got into it at a good time to where live painting kind of hit this like stride on TikTok, you know,
Yeah.
and like social media, and it kind of became a trend. And so I got in at a really good time. And so I ended up getting a lot of weddings my first year, which I wasn't expecting.
Mhm.
And then 2023 um, was crazy. I was like I called myself a baby vendor. I was a baby vendor, and I had this notion in my head to where I was like, if I book the most weddings, like I'm doing good. Like
Yeah.
if I as many weddings as I can book, like yes, I never said no to anybody. Like I'm taking them all. And I got pregnant, and so and I was like that quickly changed. But it was the year where I yeah I had like 60 something weddings.
Mhm.
Originally, I had booked like 70 something, but then I had to cancel some because I was giving birth at the end of the year. And I had 11 in June. And after that, I was like, I learned, I was like, nope, like just because you have the most weddings doesn't mean like that's good. You know, you
Mhm.
got to figure out boundaries. And thankfully, my son taught me that mostly.
Yeah.
um, and just yeah going through a crazy month of a whole bunch of weddings, I was like we can't do this again. um
Yeah.
so I think just what I do is I like first I figure out okay like when's our anniversary, when's like my birthday weekend, my husband's birthday weekend, my son's birthday weekend, and then from there I just kind of block off weekends that I think events are going to happen like with family.
Yeah.
um and uh, then I'll start taking bookings. And after so many bookings, I kind of figure out, okay, like I have two or three this one weekend. Cool. Like I'm glad that that worked out, and then I'll block off the next weekend because I already have, you know. So I kind of I block off weekends, and then I get inquiries. I take the bookings, and then as I'm taking those bookings, I kind of figure out, okay, I for sure take one weekend a month off. Like that's my biggest like line that I draw. Um,
Mhm.
Two if I can, and then during the summer I try to take 2 weeks off, usually in July or August. 2020 no yeah this year I'm taking 2 weeks off both months, July and August. um,
Good.
so yeah, it took a couple years, but I learned to to take that time off. It's definitely necessary.
Yeah, it's nice when you're booked because it's validating that you're desirable and that this kind of self-employed gig that we have can continue, because that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
scary like when you don't book anything for a while or you've got like a sparse month. You're like, "Oh shoot."
Yeah.
I hope I'm still relevant. Like how many times do you wake up like I Instagram, every now and then you'll go viral or something, and something will be really popular and then you'll get a flood of inquiries and you're like, "Oh, I'm doing great. I can up my prices. I can pick and choose what weddings I want. Like we're there. We're making it." And then so suddenly it changes and
Mm-hmm.
you're waking up the next day and you're like, "Am I still relevant? Are people still going to hire me?" Do you
Yeah.
feel that way or is that just me?
No, no, you're not alone. Yeah, it, there's days where, yeah, you'll get inquiries and more inquiries and coming in your emails. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, and then people ghost you, you send your pricing and they're like,
Sure.
absolutely not. um, which is fine. I and it's sad because I think that's where I'm at now at this point. When people send me an inquiry, like I remember back when I started, I would get an inquiry and it was like, somebody sent me an inquiry. Somebody wants my price guide. Oh my gosh. And I quickly learned that that doesn't result in a booking,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and so now I'm at that point where I get an inquiry and I'm like, yeah, here's my price guide. And then it's like, if they come back, it's like, oh, you do want to book me?
Oh, they wanna
Okay.
talk with me. Okay, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Like, that's exciting. Um, but yeah, the whole, yeah, Instagram and social media and like going viral. And then having that few days or week or however long the algorithm decides to take your video and send it on a spree,
Mhm.
of people sending in, hey, like, I want you for my wedding. Um, and then just like dropping off the face of the earth, it feels like. It's so hard. It's
Mhm.
hard not to like, you know, that doesn't correlate with your success like in your paintings, like
Sure.
it's really hard to explain, but yeah, it's really hard in terms of the mental side of it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I've gone let's see, the first time I ever went viral was in 2021, and it was after
Okay.
other live painters had gone viral, and so
Okay.
after 2020 and all that happened, um, it really kind of spread like wildfire, this idea like, that's what the algorithm was showing, this really awesome trend of live wedding painting, and so everybody who was going viral, all of the algorithm was, like, picking it up and blasting it, and so that I I felt like I was missing out on that because I was just on Instagram. So I got on TikTok and I have not basically what happened was I got on TikTok and I posted like 9 times and that ninth one I think took off and then like I posted 3 or 4 more and they all went viral. So it was like this big flood of viralness. And what happened from that was I had hundreds of inquiries within days and none of them were qualified. We talk about Stephanie Morris has been on the podcast before. She's my SEO manager, and she's also come in and talked to my students about optimizing your website for search and getting more qualified leads and inquiries.
Mm,
And so the people who were coming in weren't qualified at all. They saw the post and they engaged with it to some degree, and then they clicked the email button and then they asked. And a lot of them were in India or places that were really hard to coordinate travel. It wasn't like, "Oh yeah, I can do your wedding and the other one I have booked the next day." It wasn't like that.
mm-hmm,
So, and then as a business, you want to respond and you want to, so I had to hire someone to help me just respond to all these. And so like it took 2 months just to catch up on emails. So it wasn't necessarily I did book a few weddings and I got a lot of followers, but in the end, it wasn't a positive experience. It wasn't like I was able to just grow or become a millionaire. It wasn't like what I thought it might have been. You've gone viral a couple of times. How was it for you?
yeah.
Was it kind of a similar experience?
So yes, in that sometimes I wish that I didn't, and
Isn't that
so
weird?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
um
I'll tell people who envy like, I'll be in a conversation with somebody and they, have a couple thousand followers or a couple hundred followers, and they're like, "Oh, it's just not fair." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not it's all like, um, it's all like a vanity metric
yeah.
for the most part." And it is nice to have a lot of followers or, to see people and they seem to be doing well, but what does the number mean? It's more of like what comes with it. So what
Hmm.
came with it for you, like going viral?
It Yeah, I so very first painting I ever did, October of 2021, for free. I was like just gonna dip my toes in the water.
Mhm.
And then like I think it was maybe the second paid wedding that I had ever done in like April or June of 22. I think June or July is when I posted, um, first video, that my first, reel because I was also not on TikTok. I had the same path as you. I was not, I actually held off on TikTok for a very long time
Mhm.
before my little brother and my mom, they were like, you need to go on TikTok. I was like, I don't wanna.
Same.
First video that went viral on Instagram, I think like 11 million people saw it. And this was maybe like my fourth or fifth wedding that I've ever done.
Crazy.
And so then it was different for me in that I actually, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I did because of that reel. I think, yes, people saw my work, obviously, and they saw what I was doing and they saw I was in California. And I did get a lot of bookings from that. Um, I
And
got,
you probably had an open calendar too, so you probably could.
yeah, yeah. At
Yeah.
that point, I didn't even know what I was doing in terms of like how early to book or anything. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have. I was like, oh, I need to send out contracts, like invoices. Like, okay, yeah, like I need to
It's a lot
figure
of
out.
work.
Yeah, and so, but yes, in terms of like, I was just sitting in Starbucks for hours a day, like trying to get through the emails, um, and I just didn't feel like I was at a place to, hire somebody to do that. But looking back, I was like, man, like I spent my whole life in Starbucks just like
Mhm.
typing out those emails. But yeah, I did get bookings from it. But ever since then, that first video went viral, and I was like, oh my gosh, like people are seeing my work, people are booking me, like, and something in my head clicked to where it's like I need to go viral to get bookings. Like, because it was like my
Yeah.
first time and my first few weddings, and like that's how I got bookings after. And I
Mhm.
accredit it to that viral moment. And so now I look back and it's like, you I didn't go viral then. Obviously, the next few videos, I was getting just like a few thousand views, and I was like, "What's wrong with my work? What it did something change?
Oh.
What am I doing wrong?" Like, oh no, I'm not going to get bookings, and then you do get that. Like, you get the one that gets a little bit of views, and you're like, and it's just this roller coaster. And so, yeah, it just that's why I think I said, like I kind of wish I didn't because it's been hard for me to get out of that, like I need my stuff to go viral in order for people to see me in order to book me.
Mhm.
um but like I know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
But it was like my one of my first reels that I made for live wedding painting. um and so it's a weird connection in my brain that like that's how I got bookings, and it's
Mhm.
been hard to drag myself out of that.
And hey, live wedding painters, have you taken a minute to evaluate your business yet? Have you started to think about next year yet? As this year comes to a close, it's important for each of us to take a moment and reflect. Did you hit the goals you set for yourself? Did you set goals at the beginning of the year at all? Was there any clarity in your vision for your creative business, or have you just been hanging on for the ride? Now, imagine starting next year with a clear plan, a year where you're building a stellar portfolio and booking dream weddings, showing up with confidence, and taking bold steps toward your career goals. That's exactly what my goal setting workbook is here to help you achieve. Created for the members of my online course, The Wedding Painter's Blueprint, the Goal Setting Workbook is more than just a place to jot down ideas. It is your roadmap to success for the year ahead. With guided evaluations, you'll identify your unique personal and professional challenges. You'll address physical and psychological elements that might be holding you back. And you will set clear, achievable goals and map out the steps to reach them so you can turn your vision into reality. This workbook is free to download and print so you can physically write down your goals. It includes tools to help you track your growth and adjust as needed, and will actually help you take vague dreams and turn them into concrete plans, and turn those plans into real success. Next year doesn't have to feel uncertain. The goal setting workbook will help you take charge of your career and step into the new year with purpose and direction. Click the link in the show notes to download your free version of my goal setting workbook and kick 2025 off with clarity. And you've gone viral a couple of times since then.
Yeah.
do you now, like the last time, which was recent? I think you did
Yeah.
posted something recently about, you guys, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And
Yeah.
I was just dying laughing. I was like, we have to talk about this because this is it's so true. And it's like a hidden fact, a hidden reality of the situation. But you want
Mhm.
to, because it means that more eyes are on your stuff. And that's how you make bookings, and that's how you make sales and all this stuff. Have you Has your reaction to going viral lately changed from that the first couple of times?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, the first, couple times, like I remember screenshotting it every like 100,000 views that first time. I
Mhm.
was like, look, like, oh my gosh, well, it's still going. Like, couldn't possibly, and it's so crazy. And then this time around, it's like, yay. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that sounds so bad for the people. I think it was my mom that messaged me. She was after she saw that story, and she was like, "Did you get anybody that was like, oh, I want to go, like, but that's that like you're lucky that that happened." And I was like, I mean, maybe, I don't know, but it that it's not like you said, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's
Well, it has nothing to do, it's outside of your control almost. Like, you can make an
yeah,
entertaining reel, and your reels are entertaining, and your content is entertaining, and it's forming connection, which is what people like. It's engaging, and then your work is good. It's really good, and you're adorable, and so like that trio, it makes for good content, you know. So like, you're of course that it would make sense, but all of your content is like that, and so the fact that the algorithm just like picks and chooses what it's going to push through, or what, like, I know, I don't know, but I know that they're like, the algorithm or the robots, like, they're doing testing, they're testing groups, they're testing posts, and they're seeing what does, and they're,
yeah,
they're trying to
yep,
keep people on the app, which makes sense. And so they're doing all of that work behind the scenes. And then if people are engaging with one type of piece of content, then they'll continue to push it and push it and push it. And it's never anything that you can, like, as you're making it, saying, "Oh yeah, this is going viral. This is insane." So you have no control over it. So at this point, you're just like, "Okay, finally, got picked up. Like, what? I got a little bit
yeah,
of action on one of all of the consistent things that you're posting."
yeah.
So it's a
It's
sweet reward, but it's also like, I still have to go to work. Like, it's
yeah,
still, this doesn't define me. You know.
yeah.
Mm.
No, and it's hard. It's because I think I got a couple people that responded to that story that I posted talking about going viral, and they were like, that doesn't like mean doesn't mean anything with your successes, like with your paintings. And I was like, I know that, but like it's still hard in my brain
Mhm.
to like accept that.
Mhm.
Um, and it's funny too because I remember making that reel, and I remember seeing a lot of other artists post in this way where, like, if you show yourself first, or if you show like, you don't just
Oh,
like,
they copied
show the
they
time lapse,
templated it. Yeah.
not like yeah, like I was seeing a lot of stuff that went viral that I didn't like. Not that I didn't like the paintings, but I was just, but sometimes you see like viral reels and you're like, but the painting.
Mhm.
But so I was like looking at some, and that I was like, okay, if I show myself first reacting to the wedding dress, like maybe it'll get picked up. And it did.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so I showed this video of myself like reacting to the dress, which I was reacting to the dress, and it was beautiful. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, actually, that's a good clip. Like, I'm going to put that first and see if it
Mhm.
gets picked up. And
Mhm.
the video got picked up. It's like, okay, so there is an art to it in a weird way.
Mhm.
But
It's storytelling. Like, we're all
yeah,
learning. We're not all
yeah,
videographers
I know.
screenwriters, like screenplay writer. Like, we are, we are artists, and now we have to create
Yeah,
content. It's a challenge.
it is hard. And so then I was like, but did I also just sell out? Like, this isn't my like, I'm not posting wildly different things. Like, I do keep it all similar, but I was like, but I remember being like, maybe if I start the video with a shot of myself, maybe it'll get maybe it'll go off. That's not what I like normally do. And then it
Mhm.
did. And I was like, I sold out.
Well, there was one that you had posted too, and I think you may have pinned it, and it was on the with the topic of like you're the artist that you're the life painter that lets the guests paint, and that's like your
That was the first
tagline.
one.
That
Yeah.
was the first one. So
That was the first one that
that
went
one was
viral.
also really good storytelling, and then and then all the like trending audio. It like it gives us the tempo and gives us the inspiration, and so harnessing that factor of like entertaining and then all the little clips that people are listening to and associating with entertaining pieces of content. It's all
Hmm.
we've been trained
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
Oh man. You may have heard me talk about my little side business, my little fine art print shop. I create an original painting, I take a photo of it, and I print it, and I print it again and again and again. I make hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars a year on prints. It's so easy. And I learned everything I know about creating my own prints and printing them in house from Laurie Ann Gonzalez and her Art to Print course. I highly recommend if you are an artist and you want to make easy money from your original works and even the commission works, you can resell those as prints. I recommend you check out Art to Print. Laurie Ann has a very direct way of teaching, and you are really going to appreciate her no fluff method of giving you information and telling you exactly what you need to do to make making fine art prints in your own studio a breeze. You can check her out online at learn.laurieannart.com. That's learn at LaurieAnnEart.com, or just click the link in the show notes for my affiliate link. Check her out and thank me later. It
The
is
the whole social
hard.
media part is hard, but we're all learning, like you said.
Yeah, it's like a necessary evil. After
Hmm.
going viral like the first time and then being stuck in Starbucks for forever and ever and ever trying to catch up, did you change anything about like your processes, or did you hire anybody to help you in the future, or, like make your life easier on the back end, or do you still do it all yourself?
I still do it all myself. It's just me. Um, I have definitely like thought about it long and hard. And sometimes I'm still like, I should, but I I'm still like, just, I'm managing it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I'm like on top of it,
Yeah.
but I'm, I'm getting, you know, yeah, every month that goes by with my kiddo, he does change, and like, sleep gets adjusted, and like things change in terms of nap time and everything. But I am in the swing of things right now where I have like a schedule for myself, like kind of, where like morning I get up before he wakes up, and I'm on my emails, and I get through all of those before the day starts. Um, and my main thing that I'm still trying to figure out is studio time. It wasn't long ago that I was wrapping up commissions that I took on like while I was pregnant. So it
Mhm.
took a long time to get those out. And thank goodness my clients were very patient with me, and I kept them updated. But yeah, like it was just so hard trying to, uh, you know, figure out studio time. And it still is a little bit, but um, no, I haven't hired anybody on to do like emails. I kind of just have like, the basics that I copy paste and send out. I I haven't needed anything in terms of like I mean, I'm sure I do need it, like website design and all that. Or, you know, like um just even talking to somebody about, which I think I'll ask you now that you were talking about raising prices. That's
Mhm.
something I want to talk about, because
Let's do
I'm
it.
so I'm so weird with money. Like I hate, like, if I in a perfect world, if we did not live a, in a world where we needed to pay for things, I would do this for free. Like
Mhm. I say that
I
every
don't want
day.
I don't want your money. Like I don't
Mhm.
want to ask for it. Like when I'm on my client calls, I'm talking about um my process and how the day works and talking to them, and then I'm like, so I just require a 25% deposit to secure the day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Are you
uh,
still using cheap art supplies? Look, you don't have to tell me, but you know, if you want to level up, you have to use better supplies. Come on, let's invest a little. I've been using Rosemary and Company for my paintbrushes for the past 5 years or so, and I have never thrown away one of these brushes. The quality is unmatched, and they're like reasonably priced. I hate to say it, but they're the best. So I love a long handled paintbrush. Okay. I love a hog hair or an ivory, which is kind of a mixed bristle hair. And Rosemary and Company, they have like so many options. So I would check them out. The website is www.rosemaryandco.com. That's Rosemary spelled Rosemary and co.com. Or you can just click the link in my show notes and it'll take you directly to my personal wish list. It's all the brushes that I use and recommend. So check them out and thank me later. We can go in two different directions, Nick. We can either
Sorry.
talk about like business processes and pricing and like how to do that because I mean, I love talking about that. I love talking about business and stuff like that. Or we can talk about how you like what your day to day looks like as a mom with a 1.5 year old, and the process of doing the work that you have to do. Like we can go down that rabbit hole, which is also something I love talking about. So you pick.
No, the pricing thing is definitely something because so I think what I started my started in 2022. I've only raised my prices twice, I think. Um
Okay.
because I don't wanna. But and I actually am genuinely curious why people do. And I do have people in my life. I have vendors
Sure.
in my life that I could ask this, but I just haven't because again, money's just like weird with me. Like I don't like
Yeah.
talking about it. I get
Yeah.
uncomfy. Um
Yeah.
uh so I don't like I would like to know like why do vendors like raise their prices every year?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
because I don't
there's a
know.
number. Oh, for sure. No, there's a number of factors. Um, we have to pay all of our bills and in the in this economy like you mentioned not raising your prices and the first thing that came to mind was in this economy like the cost of living goes up, inflation goes up and so like ever the it's just constantly being inflated and so if you don't raise your prices, then that's cutting into your profit margin and your expenses are going to keep going up. And so you have to like everything goes up. The cost of milk goes up, like consistently over time. And so if you're not raising your prices, then you are essentially losing money. And not only
Mm,
are you losing money per job, but you as an artist are improving your style. And so the product is getting better and then you're becoming more confident and more efficient and so I mean it truly is becoming a better product and with time and with virality going viral and getting pops of exposure you're becoming in more demand and so wedding vendors when it's a beautiful thing whenever you become consistently booked and you have consistently numerous inquiries for the same dates that's showing you that you are now have options. And so let's say we're in currently it's April Fool's Day, April
yeah.
1st in
Yeah.
2025. And let's say you have an inquiry for next October of 2026. Let's say you haven't raised your prices in a year and they book you at last year's rates. By next year, you're going to feel like I gave that painting away because
Yeah.
that's the way the wedding world works is we book so far in advance. Usually, sometimes you'll book two months out, and if you're free, that's like, ooh, squeeze that one in. Let's do that job. But you're booking so far in advance, and you're encouraging your couples to book far in advance because you don't want to say no because you're booked. You want to say yes, and so everybody thinks 6 months to a year in advance. And so you are doing incredible work to develop your skills and with more time and more consistent like marketing you become in higher demand and so then you have more options and then you start to feel pricing also has a lot to do especially for pricing artwork has a lot to do with how you feel about it if you
Mm,
feel like you just gave that away or if you feel like you're being taken advantage of or taken for granted that has a lot to do with the exchange, the value which is money. And you can be, I have a hard time still talking about like giving a verbal price. I don't usually give a verbal price. I have a starting rate on my website, and then we go through the inquiry form and that process, and I try to schedule a discovery call, and I get them on the phone. And then when
Yeah.
you're on the phone with somebody, you can form a connection, and you can figure out what type of person they are, what type of buyer they are, how you need to talk to them so that they receive the information well. And
Hmm.
then you're like, let's talk about all of the details, unless they like flat out are a buyer and they need to know like just numbers, just facts. Then you can be like a robot and just give them facts with no emotion. You're not trying to sell it to somebody who really wants it. It's like, nope, just giving a number. That's kind of
Hmm.
easier.
Yeah.
But when you really want the job, or when you're trying to form a connection and you don't want to insult them by giving them it's so much easier to say, we're going to talk about what you want. We're going to iron out the vision. We're going to talk about all that is possible. And then after the call, I'm going to send you an email. So I usually try to stick to giving my quotes in an email. And then
Hmm.
it's like a recap of the conversation, and then here are the options, and then a breakdown of my standard um pricing payment schedule. But also there's the offer. I use HoneyBook, and so you can customize the invoicing. And so I'm like, this is standard because it's simple, but if you want to do like a monthly thing, let me know. We can customize
Yeah.
it. Like,
Hmm.
I'm here to help you. um so it's a very long-winded a long-winded kind of
No.
overview of pricing, and a lot more goes into it. But if you don't raise your prices, then you will earn less money over time, and you are
Yeah.
improving as an artist and a technician and a professional. And so you're worth more. So not only are you in higher demand, but you're worth more. And then
Yeah.
there's a good chance that you like painting larger sizes now, as opposed to when you first got started and you were like,
Hmm.
how am I going to cover this 16 by 20-inch canvas in 4 hours?
Yeah.
Now you're
Yeah.
like, I could do that in 30 minutes. And so
Totally.
yeah. And so now you're offering, just the product is getting more luxurious and more, just more competitive. It is more competitive. And I don't know, that's kind of what goes into it. And then throw on top of that your boundaries and the situation as a mother where your time is more precious. And so maybe next year you don't want to book 50 weddings because your child is going to pre-K and has all these school events, or is joining soccer tots, and you want to go to
Hmm.
his games on Saturday morning. Like
Hmm.
maybe
Yeah.
you can only do 40 or 35. And so you you are limiting the jobs that you take. And so it's like a higher value because there's a scarcity, you know?
Hmm.
Louis Vuitton makes like their handmade bags. And so you order one, and it takes them longer to make it. They don't make a million and put them on the shelves. Um, Maybe that was a bad example, but that's what I'm saying.
No. Yeah.
I charge more now, and I don't mind booking fewer. Like I charge more. My prices are set now because I can't do 50. So
Hmm.
I need the income to make sense.
Hmm.
Um, but also I do like 30 by 40 paintings, and it's
Hmm.
like it's huge paintings, and I still travel, which is a pain in the butt. And there's a lot of costs involved with traveling with a wet 30 by 40-inch oil painting.
Yeah.
And so overall it just is more costly, but I don't know. There's a lot of factors that go into that.
No, that was really like just hearing because I didn't know. Like I was like, are people just raising their prices to raise prices? Like what? But they do it every year. Like why do they do that? And I was like, I'm so uncomfy doing that. But when you were like, feel like you're giving the paintings away, like that really hit me. Like I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of, but I've the feeling of like, yeah, like I don't know, like I feel like I could charge more, but it's just getting over that uh, like like being scared, like, okay,
Mhm.
but if I do, I'm not going to get any bookings. Like if I raise my prices, I'm not getting any bookings. But that's not the case because people are booking my
That's
second
not
and third
right.
size canvases. So,
Mhm.
but it
So
still
there's a
feels that way.
there's a trick that it's a strategy that I use, and I tell all of my students to use it. And if anybody's listening and isn't sure how to adjust their pricing for next year, listen up because this is really helpful. I look at the previous years, like I look at the whole year, and then I figure out how many I add up all of the income like before taxes. I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
you add it all up. If you charge $2,000 for one size and $3,000 for the next size, like you just add up all the money you made and then you divide it by the number of weddings you did. And so you're probably going to get a lot of different packages and different customization and different invoices are being sent out. But when you add it all up and then divide it by, you find the average. And then I like to think about making that average your starting rate
Hmm.
or find some sort of middle ground between your current starting rate or last year's starting rate and that average, because the
Hmm.
average is data is showing you more people are interested in your middle size than you think. And then, oh, you actually did have a lot of people who wanted your bigger size. And that's really good to know. Like it wouldn't be wise to ignore that
Hmm.
because you can kind of rethink your offerings. You can drop that smaller size and add something bigger that is still smaller than the biggest, but you're giving people options, but you're giving people what they're asking for as well. And so finding out the average amount someone spent with you last year will help you determine what maybe you should make your starting size.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like maybe you just had a crazy year and everybody, like half of your clients got your middle package. That doesn't mean that a lot of people didn't get your smaller package, but that shows you that a lot of people wanted that middle package. Maybe that one is more popular,
Hmm.
and kind of let that guide what you're going to do for next year, because it's hard to know when is a good time. Like January. Do you have to raise your rates in January? No.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have raised my rates in the middle of the summer, which in New Orleans, nobody gets married in the summer. And so
Yeah.
it'll be kind of a silent, like a silent time. It's not like I'm raising my prices in the middle of peak season. I'm not doing all of that. It's
Hmm.
just the next round of inquiries that I get when it gets busy again, or for the next engagement season or whatever.
Hmm.
It's like we have new rates,
Yeah.
and it has to align with what your goals are.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're doing very well, but I also know that it'd be nice to make a little bit more money than you did 2 years ago,
Yeah.
especially in this economy.
I know. I know when I say it and people are like, "What?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just like again, I would do this for free. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
ask for money." But no, it does yeah, it make when you spell it all out like that and explain it, it totally makes sense. And so I'm definitely gonna like sit down and start trying to figure it out.
It's fun to set goals too. I like to set like a monetary goal, not because I mean, I'm married. My husband works and makes money. And so it's not, it's me needing to meet a goal is not like life or death. So I'm very
Yeah.
fortunate in that, but I'm goal driven as a person. And so if I set an income goal for the year and it's scary, then I
Hmm.
sit there and I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
what do I need to do to reach that goal? How many jobs do I
Yeah.
need to book? How many of a certain size do I need to book? Okay, Stephanie, now you're thinking about working 100 weddings this year. That's ridiculous. You're not going to do that. So how can you
Yeah.
supplement your income? What do are you going to offer like coaching calls to do that, during the week and supplement? Are you going to take commissions? How many commissions can you take? Like what's the year look like? And so then you start to then you have to be clever about it, but you have that goal. And fellow entrepreneurs, listen up. Let's talk about protecting your business. We all know that having a solid contract is essential, but drafting them is daunting and can be very expensive. I'm an artist, I'm not a lawyer for a reason. That's where the legal page comes in. The legal page offers attorney drafted contract templates tailored for creatives and small business owners like you and me. Whether you're a photographer, an artist, a business coach, a designer, or an event planner, or what have you, they've got you covered. These templates are easy to customize and come with very clear instructions that include free future updates. That's huge. I was honored to be asked to review their live event artist contract, and it checks all the boxes for me. Don't leave your business vulnerable. Invest in peace of mind with the Legal Pages contract templates. So, if you're ready to get your business legally legit, head to the show notes and click the link to save 10% off any product in the shop, or use my code StephanieG10. Again, get your business legally legit with a Legal Page contract today. I'm curious to know, I'm glad we're talking about babies and having babies at home. When do you paint? Do you finish all your paintings like on site, or do you bring them back to the studio and finish them in the studio?
It depends. I have four canvas sizes that I do. I do the 18 by 24s and the 22 by 28. Um, yeah, typically I'll finish, or I do my best to finish it on site. And yeah, my contract says I paint for like at least 6 hours, but I just, I stay. Like, and if
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, like I can like spend like 30 more minutes and maybe get this done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but 24 by 36, the 30 by 40, yeah, I take those home. And I just paint, yeah, when he's asleep. I had this like dream of like, I think you see it right here. I put this little easel for him in
Mm-hmm.
here, and I'm like, oh, he'll like color and I'll paint and it'll be great. No,
No,
he, he,
no.
no, that didn't work out. So yeah, it's just during, I'm looking at the painting that I just finished right now. It's during nap time when he's asleep.
Yeah.
Either I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. and get a couple hours in before he wakes up, or I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put aside the laundry and the cleaning and the prepping for dinner, and I'm just gonna paint during his nap time. But then there's all that as well during nap time.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes I'm like, no, I really need to like fold the laundry, or I need to start dinner, or, yeah, all this other stuff. And
Any of
then,
the various hundreds of tasks that you have to do in a day. It's so
yeah,
hard. It's so hard to
yeah,
put aside something that you know is like important. Like you have to eat dinner, you have to think
hmm,
about it, you have to make it. Like it's important every day, but this is also important. Like that's
yeah,
I feel you. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Do you so you try to finish the smaller ones for sure and you bring the other ones back. And you do a buku weddings every year. Like you do a lot of weddings. Do you do them all in your local area or are you traveling like on a plane?
So yeah, when I was, I think we had trouble getting pregnant. So I never took like a year of being like, oh, I'm gonna just like take some time off and hopefully we'll have a baby around then. So when in 2022, when I was booking for 2023, I took on like 14 travel weddings. And that was really hard because I got pregnant and I was like, okay, like, well, I don't want to cancel these weddings. I'm just going to try to make it work. But now 2023 came along, I knew I was going to have my son, and I was like, 2024, I'm not. Um, you know, I or I think it was, no, that's a lie. It was 2023 January where I started booking for 2024, and I took on 14 travel weddings when he was here. And
Mhm.
so my husband was a rock star, like,
With an infant,
newborn, yeah, who
dude.
was like all about the meeting. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. He was a rock star. But so then once 2024 came around, along, I was like, no, I'm only taking 2 to 3 travel weddings from here on out, just as like,
Yeah.
not a break because I'm still working, but it's a fun, I get to go and I get to go to a wedding. And so that was a long way of saying no. Not really. I'm
No,
not
but I mean
traveling.
what you just said is so true. It is a prank. Like when I get in my car to go to a wedding, especially kind of in that the first couple of months postpartum, like I try not to work immediately postpartum, but like
Hmm.
3 months out, I'm working. I'm doing those jobs. And I'm walking out the door, and Chris is like, "Have fun," because he's home with all that. We have multiple children now, and I'm like, "I will. Bye. Good luck." And then, and then I get to go and do the work, and it is hard work. Oh my gosh, it's a hard job. Like, I don't know if we talk about it too much or if we don't talk about it enough. How taxing physically the
It's
job
tiring.
is.
Yes.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh! And then now you're adding pumping on top of that. because you just said you're still breastfeeding, which is insane.
Mm,
Congratulations. But
thanks.
you're pumping. What? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with that, which is a full-time job. Like you have to
Mm,
like input the calories, you have to eat constantly and make sure your caloric intake is high enough to produce for you and for the baby. And then you have to keep up with it consistently on a time limit, for those who don't know. If you're trying to continue to produce enough breast milk, you have to pump every 2 to 3 hours and you have to sit
mm.
down and like produce that milk. And so it's a job. And then you're doing that on a plane and in an airport. What's one
And
of
at a wedding.
I wanted to, and then at a wedding during precious painting time, you
Yes.
don't even want to stop to eat, much less
Hmm.
stop for 30 minutes to just sit there and be milked like a cow.
Hmm.
Ah,
Yeah.
I
I
want
can't
to know so much.
remember.
Talk about it.
I can't remember what it was like. Like, I knew that I did paintings not pumping, and now it's like 3, 4 hours has gone by. And I'm at the point where um, I would like to stop. He won't let me. He he won't take a bottle. We've tried
Mm.
all the kinds of milk, almond milk, ripple milk. He
How
doesn't
old
like
is he
anything.
now?
He's 16 months.
He can stop and not drink milk. My oldest doesn't like
Oh,
milk.
really?
Milk? Yeah, he can stop.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, give him a bottle of water or apple juice. Not apple, like water is better than like juice because there's a lot of
Uh-huh.
sugar in it, but you don't have to give milk. He can
Oh,
get calcium other
I
ways.
feel like I feel like I don't know why I have it in my head that like they need to be drinking a certain amount of milk
No.
every
In
day to
fact,
get
if
their
it's
like nutrients.
no, because he's
And
eating. He's got a mouthful of teeth, I assume.
yeah, yes.
I have a 19-month
Yes.
old and she's talking in full sentences. Like there's no way I can't imagine nursing her.
He,
Uh,
yeah, no, he is too. He's like he has all his words that he said. He doesn't I wouldn't say it's like a sentence, but like I know what he's saying. I know what he's asking me
he
to
can
do and like doing
communicate.
things.
Mhm.
Yes. And so
Mhm.
yeah, no, he every few hours and I'm like,
Yeah. That's
but
tough.
it's easy at the same time, it's
Yes.
just like, all
I know
right,
what you
like
mean.
here you go. um,
Yeah.
I would like to stop. I won't go into like he
No,
has
you
a
don't have to.
surgery he has a surgery coming up,
Oh.
which it's fine. Everything's okay. He's gonna be
Mhm.
fine. Um, it,
But you can't stop
but
now.
I would like that toolbox for when he's healing.
Mhm.
So I'm planning on stopping. I am planning on stopping at the
You're
end of
such a rock
April.
star. Like that's a good mom. That's a long time that
It,
to I mean,
yeah.
to do both. I mean, you're doing what's best for him too. So,
Yeah. Famous
it'll
last words is I said, I was like, I'm stopping at a year. But no.
That's okay.
uh, but yeah, it's hard. It's so hard at, through the airports, you use it and you every 3 to 4 hours you have to remember. And I started setting alarms and then I stopped and I was like, 5 hours, fine. Like, like maybe I
Mhm.
can make it 5 hours and then you start hurting and it's like, okay, I can't go 5 hours.
Yeah.
um, and then you're sitting in these bathrooms at the weddings because I'm that person that I'm not going to be on the phone saying like, so by the way, I'm pumping and I need a room to like go pump it.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to put that on their plate. So I'm like, a bathroom stall's fine,
Yeah.
or my car. That's cool too. I try to just go to my car and I pump. Um,
You're such a low
but
maintenance vendor. So I am too. I try to be as chill as possible and I'm so put out so many times.
I'm the worst because I get people that are like, why didn't you ask for this or do this? I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, what? I'm just
Mhm.
seen and not heard or whatever. I'm like, I'm good. I
Yes.
don't want to like put anything on your plate. And I really am like, I'm not sitting in my car going murmur, I wish I had a place to pump. Like I'm really fine.
Yeah. Have you used those Mamava pods at the
Yes.
airports?
Yes, you
Thank
were the one that told
goodness.
me about those.
I
Those are
did.
amazing. You were the
They're
one. You were the
amazing.
one that told me all the things about pumping traveling because I was terrified. I was so
Mhm.
scared and you were like, "Get the hand pump, download Mamava." And like all the things you told me made that first trip pumping like so good. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that that advice helped because I didn't do like I learned the hard way for my first and then the second, my first child and then the second like I I don't honestly, I come completely blanking on what I did for the first one. But the second one, I realized that, oh, what are these little round circle unit pod things in the airport? And then I don't know, I saw an ad on TV and I was like, wait, I can use that? And then you
Mm-hmm.
sit, for those that don't know, it's a woman-owned company, surprise, surprise, and they invented this structure. It's a something you place inside of a building, and they have them in the airports, and it's a pod. It's big enough for two people to go and sit, and there's two little benches. There's an outlet. It's temperature controlled. It's light controlled. You can play some music. It's for nursing or pumping, and it's just a quiet place to sit. I used to like get a meal and then go sit and eat my meal and pump and then carry on my merry way. It's so much better than a bathroom stall, which
Mm-hmm.
I also do whenever I have to, but that's horrible and disgusting, and you don't even
Yeah.
want to keep the milk because well,
Mm-mm.
germs. But you know what you do. You do what you got to do. Us
Yeah.
mamas are tough, man.
Yeah, we
What
are.
advice? Ooh, this is a good question. What advice do you have for people who do what we do as live wedding painters or just working artists who don't have kids yet, or they're expecting and they're not in it yet with the kids or the babies? Do you have any advice that might help them with their scheduling or their mental health or any part of life?
Yeah. I would say that if you're not in the place where you're having kids or you're even really thinking about that yet, I look back and I have no regrets. I'm thankful. Like I gave all my time to my business and I did the traveling thing without the kids and with for my business and I just like pumped my schedule like full of weddings, which I talked about was super tiring, but it was a good learning lesson. Like I did all the weddings I could and like I couldn't even dream about doing that now,
Mhm.
but like I'm glad that I did it and I learned from it and it happened and um, I wouldn't say take like 11 weddings in a month like I did, obviously, but like do as many as you can now. Um, I would say the artist who's expecting, like you're pregnant now and you're doing what you're doing. I would like if I was sitting in front of me, uh, pregnant, like how I was, I was so tired and I was like, oh, I'll have time, later, like to, do all this. Like I'm going to prioritize, my health right now, which you should do, but also you won't have time later. So,
Mhm.
so do the painting. Um, and, just like you have this little person and all your time goes to them, which is not a bad thing. It's the most beautiful thing. Like a lot of people I feel like are like, say that and they're like just wait until like you're not going to have any time and it's like no just wait till you have no time like because it's great you're giving all your time to this little person and there are some days when I look at artists on social media and I'm like oh they don't have kids you can tell like look at all the paintings they just pumped out this week
Yeah.
and like oh, I remember the days but it lasts for 2 seconds because then like I watch my kid hit a ball off of his tee and I'm like, no, like I could never like this is the best. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're pregnant or you're like in a place of not having kids, like just yeah, give all your time, like do the business stuff, like put all your time in it because then yes, all your time's going to your baby. And um if you're a mom now, uh and like I don't know, I'm still feel like I'm pretty new at it, so I feel like I can't give advice other than for the baby who's under one, the mom who has a baby that's under one. um you know the time as they grow just keeps going away like to them, like
Mhm.
I think back to when he was just like he couldn't move yet, you could put him in a little infant pillow and like he was just so happy there. But I didn't think I had time then, and I
Yeah.
look back and I'm like, no, go paint. Like he's cool on the ground looking at his things, like, paint. But I was
Yeah.
like, no, I don't know. It's hard. Uh, I think too something for just like artists. I get questions all the time about art, like what how did you get started? Artists that are struggling to get started. Um, I'm a big believer in the free weddings. Like the first if you've never done this before, but you're like, how do I do it? You will be hard pressed to find a couple that will say no to a free live wedding
Mhm.
painting. Um, I think I did three before I was like, okay, I feel comfortable now and I'm gonna like put a price on this.
Yes.
But that's hundreds of eyes on your work for free, for you. And you're handing out business cards and it's free photos and like videos for your social media. And um, it's a learning, you go and you figure it out. Like it's free,
Mhm.
so it's fine, but you're figuring it out and how much time it takes for you. And like you just learn so much. So for anybody trying to, get into this, do a couple free weddings for friends or whoever,
Yeah.
because you just learn so much.
Yes. There's something about just the experience of doing it, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and you can like build your portfolio a little bit by simulating the experience in the studio, but there's nothing like the pressure of the job and then like showing up to a place you've never been and then being expected to set up and start working and you're thinking like, well, what, maybe you forgot and then you realize, wait, I need an outlet, thing like your checklist forms. When you forget something, you add it to the list, and it's just kind of like it's an awesome way to get some experience. And so whenever you do start charging or have the opportunity to get a paid job, then you feel more confident, and then you feel confident in your agreement with the clients too, because they've seen what you can do. And so there's a little bit clearer of an expectation. Oh, there's so many reasons why that's great advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. I feel like we could talk for 2 more hours
I know.
because we
Yeah.
have so much to talk about. We have so much in common. We've been friends online
Yeah.
for years, and I'm so glad that you came on and we're talking so transparently about going viral and how that has that experience for you and how that's affected your confidence and affected your business and all the things. And then what you shared about being a mother and working and doing the job. Oh my gosh, I completely relate.
Yeah.
A lot of people
I
that
know you
listen
do.
to this podcast are like, nobody ever talks about this. I mean, we've had a couple comments like on YouTube recently where it's like, look, I'm not a wedding painter, but I'm a mom and an artist, and I have never like this. This is the first piece of content where I'm like, yes, me too. Oh,
Totally.
it's a deep thing, man.
Mhm.
Eh, it's like transcendent past anything that we experienced when we were teenagers or, you know, young adults even. Like this is wild. Like I
It
feel
is.
so blessed. Like I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
ready to have more. Like I'm ready to have more kids. Are y'all gonna have more kids? Are you good with Colton?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
ready?
I was definitely like, I want one like, right away. And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, man, that 3 to 4 year age, yeah, it's looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um we would like to. We would if we
Yeah.
can, we would like to. Again, we had some trouble. We were blessed with him and he's
Yeah.
awesome and I'm so happy we had him. But hopefully we can have two. Um yeah.
I'm happy you had him too. I
Yeah.
have I have the wonderful experience of having multiple back to back, and I have to say the hardest transition for me was going from 0 kids to 1 kid. Like people think, "Oh, you have 2 and you're running out of hands and they're so young and you have toddlers." And yes, there's challenges there, but as soon as the baby is like 1 or even like 9 months, just big enough to trust to be on the ground, right? They
Hmm.
start to play together and then you aren't their
Hmm.
sole source of entertainment. And then the next part of your life can begin. You can leave the room and they're like, next to each other and or with each like playing with each other. And I'm
It's
so
hilarious
glad.
because that's the second time today I've heard the second part of your life will begin when you have siblings. So
Oh,
today,
really?
second time today.
Stop.
My friend who has three, we work out in the mornings together. I was like, Colton drags my hand everywhere to
Yeah.
go. Like, Mama, we got to go do this, and I'm like,
Mhm.
And I'm like, so is there a point? Like, is there like a point in your life where like they do play? And she was like, you give him a sibling, and that's when the second part of your life begins. I'm like,
Isn't
oh,
that
okay.
so funny?
So that's the second time I've heard that today. So I believe it.
Ooh, it is spooky.
Yeah, really.
Yes, go for it. I'm gonna pray for you. But yeah, I'm very happy that you have Colton, and that it is such a blessing. I'm happy to see you happy. Where can people follow you and watch you produce beautiful viral content?
Yeah, Nick Martin underscore event on Instagram, and pretty sure that's the same on TikTok. I actually don't know. I'm still figuring out TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
You're
I
either
ever will
on
get
it
it.
and it's your lifeblood, or you're like, I don't know. Yeah. What
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
website?
yeah. NicoletteArt.com is my website,
Hmm.
and I think that's all I have in terms of
That's where you can
where
find
to,
her.
yeah,
Guys, thank
find
you
my
so
stuff.
much. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. You're so cool. I wish you the
Thanks.
very best, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope that you listen to this episode.
I
You
will.
don't need to listen to this one because you were there.
No, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna start listening. That was so
That's so
funny.
funny.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on this journey of artistic exploration, entrepreneurial growth, and personal development. Remember, you have the power to create a life that is both fulfilled and balanced. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe to The Composed Artist on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a review. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more creatives like you. Until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and keep pursuing that composed life. You got this. And it looks like the little audio clips at the bottom are good, so we should be good to go. Do you
Yay.
listen to the podcast?
I don't. I could lie and say that I
No, that's great. Do you know what? I don't either.
do.
I do for like to get talk like go back and get quotes and to remember what was said or whatever, but I can't stand the sound of my own voice. So I'm
I
so
get that.
critical.
I
Uh,
get that. No, I don't have time. I have time to listen to my like audiobook. That's like when I'm painting. That's what
yes,
like gets me in the
the
studio. When I'm
book.
listening to my
Yeah.
book, I'm like I'm so productive. Um, but anything, I just don't have time. I don't have time to watch TV. I don't have time to listen to anything else. So I wish I did, and I'm going to.
Mhm.
But
Oh, no, that's just hilarious. No, I love that you said no. That's so funny. I do you okay, wait, there's this phenomenon that happens for me when I'm listening to an audiobook.
mhm.
I still wanna call it a book on tape. I'm so old. When I'm listening to an audiobook, I kinda go into that world while I'm working. And then when I look back at a painting, I remember the book I was listening to at that time. So it's kind of
Oh,
woven into like the story is woven into the experience of creating the painting. Do you ever experience that?
oh no. I thought you were gonna say like you're painting and then you're listening to the book and you like imagine the world and then you're like, whoa, did I just paint that? Which is
No, like I'll listen. There's this book and it's I was doing commissions one year and and I had a list and I was just like taking recommendations and listening to fun book. Like I just was trying to listen to as many books as I could in
yeah.
2 months or whatever. And there was this book that was recommended and it's called who The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of a Window and Disappeared. That's the title of the book. And I remember the whole book and I remember the painting I was working on when I listened to that book. So it's like the process of creating the painting is kind of an experience in and of itself, but then
Yeah.
intertwined with the stories that I'm listening to. I don't know. That's just something that
That's so
isn't
cool.
that
No, I
weird?
like hearing that. I don't experience that, but I think that's really cool. Like
Yeah.
I've never thought about that. I do imagine I have that whole thing where I'm like listening to a book and I'm like playing a movie in my head, like I see the people
Yes.
and I see like the scene and I'm like, man, I hope that this turns into a movie because I see it. Um, and I just, it's just a, I don't know. I just lose myself in my work and I'm like, I'm just going and I'm so
Mhm.
productive. But like, yeah, I'm like watching the movie in my head, but also painting. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, that too, the visualization, it's funny. It almost sounds like we would do anything to avoid focusing on what we're doing,
Yeah.
like focusing on the painting.